Breaking news: appearing in a disturbing video are Russian soldiers carrying out the execution of surrendering Ukrainian troops. Two Ukrainian soldiers who had surrendered appear to be executed by Russian soldiers in a new war video, according to the Kiev Post. Rumor has it that the scene was shot close to Avdiivka. The footage, shot from what seems like an aerial drone, shows a Ukrainian soldier coming out of a trench with his fists raised in a surrender gesture, and then he falls face down on the ground. A formation of Russian troops is visible hunched over, raising their weapons, barely a few feet distant. A second Ukrainian soldier comes out moments later, also trying to surrender, but is met with gunfire from Russian forces. In the midst of the gunfire, the first soldier rises for a second before plunging back into the muck. The video was verified as authentic by the Strategic Committee of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. The published footage depicts the execution of two prisoners of war from the Armed Forces of Ukraine, they said in a Telegram message. Once again, the Russian occupiers have betrayed their country by firing upon unarmed soldiers. According to confirmed reports, over the past few weeks, there has been heavy fighting near the town of Avdiivka, which is located northwest of occupied Donetsk. This is due to Russia's renewed offensive against Ukrainian troops, and Putin's forces have suffered devastating losses. After Ukrainian blogger Deep State uploaded the footage of the surrender to the internet, it became viral. Igor Lachenkov, the blogger, wrote, "Once again, the Russians are breaking all the war rules, along with moral and human laws they never cared about." The terrifying footage could not be independently confirmed by Business Insider. The killing of unarmed Ukrainian soldiers by Russian troops has happened before. The beheading of a Ukrainian soldier by Russian forces was captured on camera in April. "No one in the world can ignore how easily these beasts kill," said Volodymyr Zelensky, president of Ukraine. At the time, the video of an unarmed Ukrainian prisoner of war named Oleksandr Matsievsky's last words, "Slava Ukraini, glory to Ukraine," made him a national hero. Matsievsky is seen standing in a wooded area, smoking a cigarette. He is not carrying any visible weaponry. Suddenly, he is seen slumped to the ground, as if hit repeatedly by unseen shooters. Ukrainian security services have asked former President Petro Poroshenko not to travel abroad, citing information that Poroshenko intends to meet with Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban, who is described as a amico of Russian President Vladimir Putin in a report by the Ukrainian security services. The permission that had already been granted to Poroshenko for an economic trip to the United States has also been revoked. The SBU believes that Moscow plans to take advantage of potential meetings between Ukrainian politicians and foreign political figures in order to spread stories sulla necessità di un processo negoziale con la Federazione Russa, among other things. Given this context, the SBU has asked for an encounter with Orban to be considered, who expressed systematicamente in opposizione anti-Ucraina, is a amico di Putin, and asks for sanctions against Russia to be lifted. The Ukrainian government has accused the Russian occupying forces of attacking Ukrainian soldiers who were found with wounded and bloodied hands, with the intention of surrendering during the conflict in the country. Moscow has not yet provided its version of events, while Kiev's authorities have called this execution a war crime. Today on Telegram, a video, La Cui veracità per essere stata pubblicata. Verified, in which two men hide from a prison, one of them with the hands above head, before falling to the ground in front of and still another group of soldiers. They follow those who seem to base shoot and smoke before the video abruptly ends. The Eastern Ukrainian Ministry of the Public Sphere of Donetsk has stated that, according to preliminary data, the filming took place near the Stepo village very close to Avdiivka, an eastern city where they infiltrated engaged in battle. A group of Russian military personnel are seen in the video sparring distantly with two other military personnel. Disparate members of the Ukrainian armed forces who, in a statement issued by the Office of the Investigators and Prosecutors, have advanced the execution of war prisoners is a serious crime, the investigators wrote. Infraction of the Geneva Conventions and is classified as a serious international crime. Its communication hub Dmytro Lubnets, the Ukrainian Defense Minister for Human Rights, condemned the incident as a crime de guerra, and the Ukrainian Army's Strategic Command said on Saturday that it had informazioni confermate showing the esecutio of soldati disarmati by the Russian military. The security services of Kiev, SBU, announced that the Ukrainian border guards had advised the former President Petro Poroshenko not to leave the country on Friday because he had planned to meet with the young Prime Minister, Viktor Orban. While in power from 2014 to 2019, Poroshenko had planned a series of high-level international meetings, but on Friday he announced that his trip should be cancelled because he had been pressured at the border. Kyiv has criticized the former leader of the UE, Viktor Orban, for his Filorussa stance, and the Ukrainian SPU has stated that this is why he was imprisoned. According to SPU, Orban expressed systematicamente una posizione anti-Ucraina and Moscow plans to use the encounter nelle sue operazioni informative e psicologiche contro l'Ucraina. Ungheria non desidera svolgere alcun ruolo nelle lotte politiche interne del Presidente Zelensky, according to the statement of the young government spokesperson Zoltan Kovacs, who wrote on X in response to the SPU's statement. The Ukrainian government has accused the Russian occupying forces of attacking Ukrainian soldiers who were found with wounded and bloodied hands, with the intention of surrendering, during the conflict in the country. Moscow has not yet provided its version of events, while Kiev's authorities have called this execution a war crime. Yesterday, a video whose veracity seems to have been confirmed was posted to Telegram. In it, two men, one with his hands over his head, escaped from a cage before leaping to the ground in front of another group of soldiers. Prior to the abrupt end of the video, you can see what looks like sparrows and smoke. The office of the public minister of the Donetsk region in eastern Ukraine has stated that, according to data preliminary, the images were shot near the village of Stepov, close to Avdiivka, an eastern city where the fighting was intense. Il video mostra come un gruppo di persone in uniform russa spari a distanza ravvicinata a due militari disarmati in uniform del forze armate dell'Ucraina che si sono resi come prigionieri, according to the prosecutor's statement. Gli investigatori e I procuratori hanno avviato un'indagine. L'uccisione di prigionieri di guerra è una grave violazione delle Convenzioni di Ginevra ed è classificata come un grave crime internazionale. Dmytro Lubnets, the Ukrainian Defense Minister for Human Rights, condemned the incident as a crime de guerra, and on Saturday, the Ukrainian Military Strategic Communication Center said that it had informazioni confermate showing the execution of soldati disarmati by the Russian military.